we're running a little bit along on time here, and I know the previous time we had you on, we asked you this question about what success meant to you, but I was more interested because you're in this space in the role that you have rental properties. You obviously handle residential mortgages. You also handle a lot of commercial mortgages. You're in this space and you're seeing this changing climate. And I know we talked a little bit about our episode where we discussed capitalism, and that got a lot of traction as well.
Yeah,
I made some sort of comment about we were talking. We
both made comments that were
is capitalism being vilified, and are more maybe socialist, which is relatively moderate, or communist, more extreme leanings in some areas of our political life, or not that's true if we're seeing it, or maybe it's just our imagination. As someone who's in this space, what are you hearing from your investors and your clients, and maybe the perspective of someone who deals with a lot of people from out of the country, with what, how you feel our entrepreneurial environment is right now, right? Because you deal with a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, investors, all these things. What are you seeing? Yeah,
I mean, I think it's important to remember that my sample size of people might be a bit skewed, right? Because we're to be fair, we're dealing with people buying homes. Mm-hmm. There are many people who can't afford to buy homes. Yeah. But I'm not talking to them every day because that's
true.
Just not on purpose. It's just not what I do for a living. So it might be a skewed sample size, but people are still trying to buy homes. People are still trying to invest in real estate. People are trying to get their businesses started, open second locations, whatever it is, right? And so people are still striving to do these things, and so. What's vilified? So I think about this stuff a lot personally, and I think I should mention I was born in the USSR.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I was born in a communist country, and then
good times.
No.
Okay.
Terrible. Yeah. Right. So this is right now, you go on Instagram, you see yes, I know the wealth gap is growing, right?
Yeah.
And so that makes people more upset and angry and rightfully so. That all makes sense.
Yeah.
But then going after the low end of the people who I think are striving and succeeding and doing something, that's the wrong people to target. But they're a lot easier to touch than the
100%. The top 0.01% is incubated by all these layers.
Oh, it's impossible to yell at them, right?
Yeah.
So they don't care about what you wrote on Twitter. But so there is a lot more. You look at memes and sentiments, and people are there's way more stuff online praising socialism or even communism, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not I took first year poli-sci in university. I'm not talking here about political theory, but what I can say is that a lot of people are moving here, as in Canada / Halifax, from somewhere else. There's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
I think perspective is important, and it's not to say that just because it's worse somewhere else we should just be fine, we're good here. But I don't know, people are saying vilifying what, the ability to make money, the ability to to pursue something. I remember standing seeing people and as a kid standing in line at stores, grocery stores in back home when I was a kid, because so stores were empty, literally there was nothing on the shelves.
Yeah.
And then people would hear that this store has something and they'd line up to get it. And then people would see a line form and they'd get in the line.
Stop in line. Yeah.
You don't even know what you're in line for. It could be bread, could be a shirt. You don't know. Yeah. Right? And there's communism for you. So let's just
Yeah,
it's tricky.
Respect for what we have.
Yeah,
the system we were working on. It's not perfect, but
I know, and I guess the tricky thing is just like you said, the maybe the worst actors, the people who are really creating the worst of this gap, are so incubated against criticism because there's not only a physical and economic divide, but there's a political gap that they're protected by, and then just a technological, they borderline exist on a different realm.
You can't reach them. Yeah. They might as well be in the metaverse, right?
So they get
on
angry.
Their yacht.
Yeah. So they get angry at maybe
the version of that they perceive they can see in their day-to-day life.
Right. That's very interesting. I never thought really about that.
And that's frustrating, and not a lot of people again move here to what, to better their life in some way. Well, sorry, but that involves making money.
Yeah.
So people move here because they think they have the opportunity to do whatever it is they
Yeah,
want to
and they are not a fan of the taxes.
right.
No.
But yet they're still here. So it's kind of like, so we're vilifying all of that while people move here to try to get a little piece of that.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
so I think that's just the perspective that, like, I'm not saying it's all good, and just because it's worse somewhere else, we should be dismissive of the inequalities and
Yeah.
you know,
Maybe some appreciation for what the system is.
Well,
Yeah.
it's so hard. Everyone says, everyone's like, oh, it's such a shame because the American dream is dead, right? A lot of people are like, oh, this generation, the American dream is dead. It's like, and then someone like goes about trying to achieve the American dream,
Let's
and
squish
then they maybe aren't well received.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, so I don't know. I've just viewed it as contradiction, and I know because you're so in the space and you deal with a lot of people who are new to the country. I was just curious to see what your thoughts are.
Well,
on it.
and then where's the tipping point too? Like, at what point it's like, oh, good for you, good for you. Oh no,
No, how dare you.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like, there's so many, like, what's that, like a logical fallacy, or you know, like what point does it stop making sense?
Yeah.
And like,
The shiny car.
is the system like, is it the whole system? Like, should we debate capitalism? It's like, well, I don't want to. And not,
Yeah,
and not
like,
because
yeah.
like I'm benefiting from it, and granted I am. I just mean because I think it's a futile pursuit.
Yeah.
Like, we can debate it all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't changing.
No.
When I was broke, I had rich habits. When I was broke, I had rich habits.